Hello and welcome to the Morningscape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell, and like any good hockey team, we're going on a back-to-back tonight. So we're looking at Friday, December 1st. DJ, how you doing on this Thursday night?
Pretty good. I decided to not drink and do the podcast, so I'm really taking the good road for the good cause, right? That's the way
For
of
the good
putting
of the
it. So
people. Yeah.
good of the people. So yeah, it's kind of tired and just was like, yeah, whatever. Let's just do the podcast, and I won't drink tonight. I can handle one night.
Between this and the warming house, I mean, they might like accelerate you up to sainthood.
I might be ready to take on Sainthood. I think I'm there now. I think I'm officially there.
So like, what do you think we'll do on like Saint DJ's day? Like, what
Um,
kind of day would that be? Like just DraftKings and drink all day? Like,
I mean, yes. Yeah, it'd be more of a day of exploration of beer
like like
and
bands
gambling.
maybe some like live bands or something
Oh,
like
we
that.
have a lot of live music and
All
wasting money, but we can this slate. Maybe if we won't take a million years getting into this podcast this time, and like we can pound this slate out. That might not be the right way to put it. Phrasing. In 45 minutes.
yeah, I mean yesterday we did it in 51, so pretty impressed
Yeah,
by
it
that.
was not bad. I wasn't. I thought it was way longer. I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be bad. It was not bad.
Yeah. So anything to speak of Thursday night? I played a lot of Montreal, but Washington killed me, so not looking great there. But
Yeah,
anything for you to speak of, or just move on?
I mean, I just have a lot of guys that started in the 9 o'clock games, so I'm not sure what my lineups are yet. Like a lot of them are kind of in the money right now, or just teetering on the outside.
Gotcha.
And I need. Let me look. What do I need? So then we know during the show. We're hoping during this podcast that if it ever loads, we need that Monahan, like some more Koivu, Gaudreau, Giordano stack that I liked. That one would really get me going. And then my best lineup though has I have a few with Smith. So
Gotcha.
so those are the ones that are really doing well. Like I
Yeah.
had him Forsberg in a couple, but Rene's just not getting the job done.
Yeah. I am sitting at, let's see, it is 9, Jesus Christ, 10 o'clock, and I'm sitting at 22, and I'm like almost leading everything, which is just
Oh god.
crazy, but one of those nights. So,
Yeah, not a lot of
you know,
scoring from the top guys, but we'll see. I mean, things can change. A couple
yeah,
goals
for
for
sure.
Calgary, and I'm like right in the mix. So
Yeah, now that's what I'm scared of. So, all right, let's move on. If you hear any cheering, it'll be because DJ has a chance. I'm just hoping for OEL to go nuts though. But anyways, Friday night we're looking at Pittsburgh at Buffalo. If you remember the last time these two teams played, it was pretty wild. So we're expecting some of the same again, probably, at least on the Pittsburgh side. Ottawa at the Islanders, Carolina at the Rangers, Anaheim at Columbus. Anaheim having just pulled off a pretty big trade that we'll touch on in that segment. San Jose at Florida, LA on a back to back at St. Louis, Vegas on a back to back at Winnipeg, and New Jersey at Colorado. So, Pittsburgh Buffalo, the main concern here is Evgeny Malkin's status. It appears that he should be available to play, but it is very much up in the air as of Thursday night. So that should come out in Morningscape. Pittsburgh's usually pretty good about getting that information out there, and obviously, with someone like Malkin, it'll be much reported should it be announced. Um, so we'll start with the obvious. Sidney Crosby, is he like the top center play? Do you think that there's an argument for someone like Tavares or someone a bit cheaper? Like, do you think Crosby is the top play center here against? I mean, we know how bad Buffalo is.
um, I don't mind his price at all. Like I think it's very fair. Like I don't think he's underpriced or overpriced. Like it's like a nice price point where I don't mind taking it. Like he's got an excellent floor, but at that price, you do need him to score a goal and get an assist. Like that's going to be where he hits value. So it's a little bit risky, especially if Malkin comes back and that line two ends up, kind of dominating. Because they've just been like their center core without Malkin is Crosby, Sheehan, Rowney, and McKegg. So it's basically Crosby, and they're definitely double shifting him a good amount. So his value definitely gets cut into with Malkin coming back.
Yeah. Interestingly, I mean, just kind of looking at his game logs, we see the points. Like he has 8 points in his last 3 games. and 16 shots in his last 4 games as well. If you look at the underlying numbers, though, he actually has 29 shot attempts over those 4 games, which is one of the tops in the league, only behind his line mate Patrick Hornqvist and Ristolainen, who has been firing from the point.
Literally, he doesn't stop.
Yeah, he had one big game, so that kind of skews things way up. But like, it just goes to show, like, Crosby kind of is like a chameleon, DFS wise. Like, some days he'll just kind of like turn into like Ovechkin, where he's shooting from anywhere, like just trying to generate a rebound. Other games he's very patient. He's almost like a Nick Backstrom, maybe, like always trying to find his guy in front of the net. So that's the only risk I think there is. But while getting him in one of these, funks, or not funks, like a mood that he's in, where he's firing the puck on net, if you can get 5 shots out of him, you're it's a pretty good chance you're going to get a goal or an assist out of it, just because he's that good. And obviously Buffalo is not that big a concern. So I think the main note on his particular line is Patrick Hornqvist has flown up in price. I mean, it is absolutely deserved. But 6,300 now for, a guy whose minutes up until the last stretch of games weren't all that safe. Are you still buying Hornqvist at this price and stacking with Crosby, or?
No, I think that's a stack you have to have together. Like, I don't think you go one without the other in this situation. They're both going to be on power play 1. I would say definitely. I mean, they'd probably take Genselov for Malkin, and they're both going to be on the same first line because they've been so dominant. So I think you're stacking them together. If you're taking one, you're not going to take it without the other, and that's definitely going to cut into, like, you're not going to get them and St. Louis 1, for example, if you wanted to take them against LA on a back-to-back. So you're going to have to find a stack that you feel comfortable with a lower price point. Well, I think you can find it. It's definitely doable. But it's not my favorite stack of the night by any means, but it's definitely one that has potential to blow up against Buffalo, who is just, I don't know. But the thing about Buffalo is they've literally played this year like last year's New Jersey Devils. They slow the pace so much. I mean, I know you can't stop Crosby completely, but I think they will try to slow the pace down a good amount and kind of take away from a giant upside game.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange because, like, last time out, they seemed to do a really good job against Pittsburgh, and then all of a sudden the wheels just fell off. Like, Crosby was like, "Hey, I'm Sidney Crosby. Like, watch me do things." And they're like, "Okay, like, it's the third period. We can go home now." So that really all came in such a short time span. I don't know what to make of that. Clearly, this is going to be a very, very popular spot to stack. On defense, we're looking at Letang and Schultz again, basically splitting power play time. I do not have a crystal ball. I cannot tell you which guy it's going to be tonight. But Chris Letang for 6.2 versus Justin Schultz at 4,000. That's just a me play to me that you play Schultz. Letang has a slightly higher floor in terms of minutes and overall, like, shots plus blocks, but that's not really something that I think makes him worth 6,200. Especially with all the, obviously every night I say this, but the mid tier is so loaded. And then you got Burns and Carlson in not great matchups, but they're only a few hundred more than Letang is. And those are clearly the two kind of class of the position, in my opinion. So Letang, again, is in no man's land. Anyone else in this game, maybe the Buffalo side, that you want to mention before we move on?
The thing is, I don't hate the Buffalo side, and I'm really, really hopeful that they run 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. There's a good chance Zach Bogosian returns to the lineup. I don't think that's very DFS relevant, but I mean, I don't know what player Bogosian is going to be in the new system because he hasn't played a game in the new system yet. But yeah, he will return. I mean, Ristolainen is going to be interesting because he has like 28 shot attempts in the past 3 games, which is very, very good. He's still without a goal on this season, although he's only played 16 games, and I just love his DFS build. I mean, he's priced under Erik Johnson, like Colton Parayko. Like, he's just better than those guys DFS wise, and I just can't decide on my Eichel feelings yet. I know you've mentioned it to me numerous times that we wish he wasn't on a line with Kane. I'd like to say it's only for DFS purposes, but it really might help the team to split them up and try to get some scoring from other lines. So we don't know their lines for tomorrow. They just got skunked 2 games in a row, so I hope they change him up. And if he's alone, alone being away from Kane. Like if they went Eichel, Reinhardt, and Okposo, like I'm all over Eichel tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think I've said it on the pod before, but basically the long story short is that Kane and Eichel are both guys who really excel while they're shooting the puck. The thing is, Eichel really needs to be holding the puck, distributing it, in order for him to be at his most effective. And what Kane does best is literally grab a puck from anywhere and shoot it, and then cause havoc around the net, like chase him down behind the net, catch him with his like. It's just not Eichel's game. Eichel's more of the dancer, floater, and then he'll just rip it home. So there's only one puck, and I think splitting them is best for the team. So I don't know. That's
Yeah. I mean, I think I could have a whole podcast about how to fix the Sabres, and I mean, not that it'd be right, but I could go on and on. I'm actually texting one of our friends right now about like how like the Sabres are bad, and he think, well, I think we have to trade Kane, and I'm like, don't do that. Like it's like, I mean, it's more like a blow it up mentality, but we can move on. I mean, we can get to real trades in the minute here.
Well, hold on. You mentioned Bogosian. I think he plays that he would actually kind of, if you look at their power play units from last game, I would assume they'll stick with them. I mean, he didn't score, but like it just happened last game. So Risto and like the Kane Eichel were separate from Ristolainen. So with the two defensemen on the Kane Eichel unit being Julio and Tippin, I think that Bogosian would actually step in for one of those two on the power play. So 2,800, if he plays, I think he'll be kind of like the number 2, number 3 defenseman for this team right away. And obviously, I just said 2.8. Like I think it's a great price because he's a guy who literally will block shots. He'll shoot the puck a lot, and I think he'll kind of come out looking to make an impact. And I love targeting defensemen against Pittsburgh because of the pace they play with. So that's really
2,800, man. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they'll be reevaluated ahead of Friday's game, and we'll see. But I mean, the thing is he can be a guy that has offensive upside. But we'll move on. I mean, that's
for sure.
That's definitely dumpster diving if you need it, but we can get to it. We can go to Ottawa at the Islanders. The Islanders have been, I mean, just one of the best teams in the NHL. I mean, the standings might not completely show it, but they definitely get some insight there. But what do you think of this team? I mean, looking at their last game, they really divvied up the minutes. Like every line got even minutes, but that was in a 5-2 kind of cakewalk win against Vancouver. How do you think they play against Ottawa?
Ottawa's always a tough team to crack. Like I really respect their system a lot. So I'm always hesitant to play guys against them. So, I don't think it's foolproof. But as we've touched on recently, the Islanders are so expensive at this point that like I'm not really sure like who I think is like a smash value or anything because we mentioned Barzal a few times. He's up at 5.4. Tavares is obviously like the most expensive center on the slate, priced right up there with Crosby. So like while I think they do have upside, I just don't really see spending again. Nick Leddy, 5,900. Like I just don't see myself spending on these guys, even if they're like scorching hot and in a decent home matchup. Price sensitive. I think Jordan Eberle might be the top play from them because he's a volume shooter, plays with Barzal, and is kind of on a little goal streak right now, which is never a bad thing to see. But you're not necessarily getting a 4 to 5 shot floor like you are with some of these other guys in the mid tier at wing. So generally iffy on the Islanders. On the Ottawa side, I'll go right back to the Mike Hoffman well as many times as I have to. He's just awesome. They try to set him up on every power play, and he's going to take every opportunity he can to shoot the puck. So always a guy who I think is cash viable, but I don't think he's a must play or anything at 6,300.
Yeah, no, I know his price is up there, and they'll probably. Do you think the Islanders match up that line with being Duchesne, Stone, Hoffman with Tavares, Lee and Bailey? That's probably the matchups we're gonna see.
Yeah, I would figure as much. If you look at last game against Vancouver, the Tavares line went out against the Sedins, which I mean that could be like just a paying homage to, the Sedins being the Sedins. But again, I think I've kind of grown away from targeting individual line matchups just because it is so hard to, those matchups. Even at home, there's icings, there's, special teams really kind of messes up the flow of your line. So I'm not all about it, and I really don't think that like one of these lines is worth targeting more than another. Like I don't really think either of these teams are exposable at all, if that's the word. So
Sure.
I'm just gonna play kind of the volume guys as I see fit.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I'll have much from this game, being as I'll be at the Sabres game, so I probably won't be playing that much anyways. So it's not a game I'm heavily targeting. And I mean, I think you could get contrarian with Brassard, that other unit, because most people won't look to it. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd touch it. I think Brassard's kind of like a boomer bust player, and Ryan has 0 goals on the year, which is kind of surprising after his playoff run. But I think they correlate on the power play, and like it's not a strong take, but I think it'll be super contrarian tomorrow.
Yeah. Just one note, Erik Karlsson, obviously, his shot numbers. Let's see, he has 12 shots over his last 4 games. Looking at the underlying numbers, that should, he has 24 shot attempts, which if you're getting 6 shot attempts per game with Erik Karlsson, I would expect, more than 2-3 shots per game. I would expect somewhere up in the, 4 shots on goal, and obviously the assist numbers haven't been there for him. So, he's been face down all year, kind of. But 6,600 is the lowest he's been all season. So I don't have a problem playing him along with Hoffman, just to kind of get that, like, I guess upper tier price, but also like elite ceiling. So just a thought there.
Yeah. All right. Move on to the next game.
Yeah, we have Carolina at the Rangers, and Zibanejad seems to be hurt, right?
Yeah, he's out. Zibanejad has concussion-like symptoms and will not play. McDonough is likely to return. On defense, that's the main notes we have from this game. So it looks like the Rangers are. I mean, they just picked up Peter Holland, so he'll probably slot in somewhere. It says he's out. I don't know what that means. I mean, maybe it's just like DraftKings doesn't know what to do yet with him, so they just haven't done anything. Yeah, I think the main note is this kind of takes the Brady Shea love that I had out of the equation a bit, because I doubt he gets that many minutes. I don't know. The Rangers are always a really tough team to pick from, and I don't like targeting against Carolina, like I've mentioned. I don't know. This game just overall doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah,
Carolina guys are priced up, and
last game we saw with the Zibanejad was legitimately a 5 minutes before lock type of scratch. So Desharnais stepped up between Buchnevich and Chris Kreider, not only on the first line, but also that first power play unit. I don't know if I would call it the first line myself, but he had 3 assists and only put up 6.5 DraftKings points.
0 shots on goal.
Yeah, I would.
He has 0 shots on goal in his last 6 games.
Yeah, I would absolutely not chase that at all. But it is worth noting, because I do think that while I think that line will be kind of like bad, I don't think Chris Kreider is strong enough to carry a line like 5-on-5 wise. Matt Zuccarello is on that first power play, and he's playing on Grabner, JT Miller line, with those two. And again, he's on the first power play, so I think it kind of opens up some shots for him on the power play, given that Zibanejad was kind of their righty, shot taker from the left side. So, just a thought. Zuccarello's a bit, I guess 5.7 is pretty fair for him.
Mm-hmm.
But so generally a really good player, and I think that the shot should come for him. And, line at 5-on-5 is going to be killing late game, chances to tie it or whatever. So empty net situations, always a thought. Just a thought there. You mentioned McDonough back.
Yeah, I don't hate Jimmy Vesey either at 3,400. I mean, he's out there with Hayes and Nash. He's on the power play too with Hayes and Nash. Like that's an okay line that I don't hate in this game. I think that the Desharnais line will probably kind of take on maybe one of the top units. I mean, that was a hot unit last game, so maybe Carolina will think like we should probably get the stall line against their. I don't know what line they're going to put against them, to be honest. I mean, Carolina's units were very random last game, and they're kind of 3 deep. I don't know if the matchups really matter. I just kind of hope Slavin doesn't take on that line as much. So maybe I could see that line being okay. But I don't think I'll have much from this game. So, I mean, what about on the Carolina side, though? Is there anything? I mean, I'm kind of always a fan of the Skinner one-off, or I guess you could go like Skinner, maybe Williams if you're feeling real bold.
Yeah, I mean, Skinner, Ryan, Williams, they've seemed to kind of be left relatively untouched from a perspective of playing as a 7-5 line, playing on the power play together. But I think they're just a really simple, like relatively under the average salary, so kind of a low price stack that you can throw in and know that they're gonna, have exposure to one another. Jeff Skinner, very, very good play. And I like those 2 guys he plays with as nice little stacking options for GPP. Interestingly, at 5-on-5, you wouldn't really note it, but the other day I looked through like 4 to 5 of their previous games, and Justin Falk actually plays like the large majority of his 5-on-5 minutes with the Skinner line. I think that's due in large part because at home, Slavin and Stahl kind of team up to try to go against the first lines. So that 5-on-5 correlation, even though they don't have power play correlation, I think makes Falk an interesting play. Just because he's so low priced that even if that other unit scores like a power play goal and Skinner's not a part of it, I think Falk could have a hand in that and has some 5-on-5 exposure to that line. So it's an interesting way I've been backing Carolina personally.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to look at it. Are we ready for the next game, though? Because I'm pretty much out on this one.
Breaking news. We have a trade to announce. You're going to like this one.
You're going to want to hear this. Yeah, so Adam Henrique and what was it?
Joey Blandisi.
Yeah, Blandisi. I remember because I saw it, I'm like, I remember we had to say that once, and I was like, boy, I don't know how to say that one. Joey Blandisi for Adam Henrique and Joey Blandisi to Anaheim for Lindholm. Not Lindholm. Oh my God, Vatanen and someone else, right? Didn't they get someone else? Or was it a pick? First round.
It was a pick. It was a third rounder.
Third. Okay, yeah. Wait, there was a first round pick involved though. First round pick.
Nope. That is fake news. There was a conditional third. I don't know. I don't think the conditional was announced on that third. So.
All right, let me just pull up the trade tracker quick.
All right. Well, you can go ahead and look that up. Anyways, did you find something or?
It was Vatanen conditional third for Henrique Blandisi 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a third both ways, not first. Third was the other one. There's like a third on both sides.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to say, and I said first, and I'm like, that didn't even sound right to me. Okay, we're good now. Maybe that's what you said. I just didn't understand because.
That is what I was saying. Correct.
Got it. You were right.
Got it.
Breaking news.
I wear heavy burden I carry to be right all the time.
My favorite thing to do is if you just go on the depth chart in DraftKings and you look at, they're not even, no, it doesn't show it. But if you just look at all the players in Anaheim with red next to their name, it's kind of like, wow, that's not good.
They have them listed down at the bottom.
Yeah, so, Getzlaf, Kessler, Kasha, Raquel is a DTD next to his name.
Yep. Eves.
He's playing though. And then Eves, Silfverberg, and then defense, Montour is the worry. That's the worry for us.
You didn't say Eves is playing, did you?
No, he's out.
Oh, okay.
I was saying all the guys that weren't playing.
Oh, okay. I said Eves and you said he's playing, but you were talking about someone else. Okay. I was like, wait, what did I miss?
Yeah, Eves is still very not playing.
Also, Silfverberg left during the third period. Yes, but that's okay. So that's what you were.
Yes, I was saying like all of these guys have red next to their name, meaning that they might not play. And then I said Raquel is day to day, but he will be playing. And then I said, so like he was the one guy that right next to his name that probably is playing.
Wait, Raquel is not playing.
And you're wait, what?
Yeah, he's out until at least Tuesday.
That's not what DraftKings says.
Yeah, it is. Literally, click on his name.
It says what? It's hoping that Raquel will be fit to return against. Oh, I thought that was. Oh, that's next Tuesday. Wow, Raquel's out too. They have nobody.
Yeah.
What? Who? What?
Is
They are broken.
Adam Henrique is on the slate.
Adam Henrique and Corey Perry, and just like know they'll get every minute.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
mean,
Wow,
yeah.
that is really not good. How much is Bobrovsky tomorrow?
9,000.
8-3. Oof. I might play him though.
So, all right, this was kind of my problem with Anaheim on Wednesday, which is why I full faded St. Louis. Like, I don't know, they're not a bad team. Like, yes, they're missing all of their players, but they're still not like a laughing stock. I don't know. Like, they're not good. Don't get me wrong right now, but they're also not terrible. So I just think everyone's going to be piling on Columbus, and like they just have Anaheim has something about them. Like, it's
Is it
I don't
Montour?
know. I mean, it might be if he plays, but anyways. So some brief analysis on the trade. Like, if you don't think that trading Sammy Vatanen was, um, trading Sammy Vatanen was the direct response to having Brandon Montour break out and be like one of the best young defensemen in the NHL, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this blue line is loaded for Anaheim, and that was kind of the point I was trying to get to. They're basically icing a top four now of Lindholm Manson, which we knew was like very, very, very good. And now they're going to have the second pairing of Fowler and Montour. Like, that is pretty disgusting. Obviously, daily fantasy relevant. Keep an eye on Montour. Like, if he doesn't play, then they'll be getting probably like Jason Magna into that 60 role along with Biaksa and Boschman. So, like, I
Yep.
don't really know. Yeah, like, that's not good. Um, but Adam Henry could be in a really interesting spot at only 4,500. Um, you know, he's shown an ability to, create offensively. Not the worst shot floor guy. It's really the only thing I can say about him there. But I really think that's an interesting deal. I love it for Anaheim just because I don't think Batten is anything special, and he was definitely disposable. So I really like what they got out of it. Um, but daily fantasy wise, DJ, if Brandon Montour does not play, is there anyone on Anaheim who you'd even consider, or do you just want to talk about Columbus?
I mean, like as a punt, Kevin Roy is 3,100 playing power play one and he had 18 minutes of ice time last game. Oh, 17.4, I guess. But like you could do worse than power play one at 3-1 playing like massive minutes. I mean, it's kind of point chasey because he had a goal and assist last game, but like there's punts on this team now because they're so banged up. Like I'm not playing Wagner. Like there's something about it that just I can't do it. Like I click on him and I'm like, wow, he had 20 minutes last night. Like, wow. But I'm like, I can't do it. I cannot play Wagner. He just isn't good.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you there, especially with Henrique coming into the fold. That like directly
Yeah,
impacts him and Derek
Wagner's
Grant.
done. Yeah, I mean, like I don't hate Henrique even, but I just can't. Columbus is like actually good. You know what I mean? It's not like they're playing Arizona
Oh yeah,
tomorrow. They're playing Columbus. Like Columbus should probably work them over.
yeah.
So should probably get to
So
that. That's something.
speaking of the team that we all wanted to talk about here, um, so we saw the Josh Anderson train continue to rumble. Played first power play and played the most time on ice of anyone outside of Panarin. So like that line played first line minutes. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Josh Anderson, Artemi Panarin. They're super cheap combined together. They play Panarin, Anderson, power play one, Dubois, power play two. And hey, they have a very, very good matchup against, like we said, the infirmary in Anaheim. So I love that line yet again. Going to ride them until they're priced fairly. Let's see, Dubois is still priced at 3,800, and Anderson is down at 47. Um, I don't really have much else to say about that. Like, I think those guys are both cash viable. Artemi Panarin is a great way to get GPP, like, stack them. But they're just such a good value line, playing minutes and with upside. Like, I just can't get away from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think one way of doing things tomorrow would be go Panarin, Anderson, with Jones. Like that would be a stack that I look into a lot, and then working another stack in there. Like that stack does not break the bank. It actually keeps you at like it's below, like them all combined divided by 3 is less than 5,500 per player on DraftKings. There we go. Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. And I was like, how do I word this the best way?
Yeah, so that line is easily my top line stack of the night. However, you wouldn't be wrong to look at the Dubinsky line playing with Nick Foligno and Boone Jenner. They're playing a ton of minutes as well. And Foligno actually got the boot off the power play. So excuse me there. I was about to say,
I know.
The power play. So maybe scratch that actually.
Taboo.
Yeah, maybe just scratch that entire analysis. It's all about that Josh Anderson, Dubois, Panarin stack.
Yeah, but Dubois is not on the same power play with them.
Right.
Was what I was going to say. But you talk. You got a lot to say.
No, you're right. Wennberg back for Columbus. Columbus. I'm not sure what I'm saying. And he was on the first power play, so that's, I think, in general, just good for the power play. Like, he's not really a guy who I want to play in daily fantasy. Doesn't shoot the puck enough, and I don't think he's really like enough of like key on their team to be like Backstrom-esque. Like, you can stack him with Ovi and just hope they go for like 3 points, but like it's not going to happen with Wennberg on most occasions. So I'm definitely sticking to that first line. Then the other guy, given that the game is such a, Columbus is going to be the highest implied total on the slate. Bjorkstrand is on the 4th line now, which really kills his daily fantasy value. So I think you can call off the Bjorkstrand dog for the time being. Anyone that we did not talk about.
No, I mean, I think we covered their whole team. And like you just kept, like you went through their top 3 lines and we're like, every one of them is an option here. But this is probably your best option. So I like that analysis. And I think
I corrected myself. I think that's really the top play and really the only one I'm considering, that line.
Yeah. And then I also think Seth Jones is like pretty solid as well. Like he's pretty good at 5'3". Very solid. We can move on. I mean,
all right,
we covered that game enough. To San Jose at Florida, which feels like a game we just saw, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I don't actually remember what happened. Something.
No, San Jose got shut out. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
It was like one of those games where I was like, "Oh, I kind of like that, like Burns Pavelski stuff." And then everyone, I think everyone was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good thing." And then, like, Florida was on like a back-to-back in like San Jose, and they're like, whatever. I'll still long go shut them out. Who cares?"
So let's see. We thought we had the San Jose figured out before Tuesday night tilt against Philadelphia. But interestingly, actually, I can't really read what they did on the power play. It seems like they played a little bit of that 5-man unit that we're used to, and Couture, Burns, Thornton, Pavelski, and then they had Hurdle mixed in there. However, they play a couple shifts where like Burns, Couture, Hurdle were with Donskoy. So, that's definitely a fluid situation. I see somewhere that Timo Meier were you saying Timo Meier was going to be scratched, or?
No, that was a total joke. That was literally. Okay. I was saying that because the last podcast I was talking about how like they refused to put him on the power play even though he has like a killer shot and like takes shots. I'm not an NHL coach. Yeah, if you get Fattenberg. No, I'm not an NHL coach. Like I don't know everything, obviously, but I just wonder why you don't try to teach a guy that clearly has a killer instinct with the puck to work on the power play unit. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, what did we look at with Timo Meier? All of his shot metrics leading up into the NHL had him in that elite like Victor Arvidsson-esque category,
Yep.
getting into the NHL. And like, why don't you try to teach that guy the power play? And like, who better to teach him than Thornton and Burns? I'm not saying it's like this is a lost year. Like, let's give up and do whatever. I'm saying like, at least start to maybe give him a chance, especially when you're not scoring the goals that this team's capable of. I don't know.
I mean, that's the big thing. Like, they're not producing on the power play, so there's really no harm in, only someone who we know is good. But, I guess to be more present, maybe reactionary rather than prescriptive, if that's, if that makes any sense. Burns is creeping back into relevancy with his point totals. Still no power play production, which is beyond mind blowing. With that said, he's putting up decent numbers, really low price. I'm not going to touch it just because I look at the expected goals numbers for Burns and they're just not good. And the team in general, like they're just not playing well. Don't really know what to make of it. But I much prefer going with that forward unit of Couture, Hertl, Donskoy, just because they are kind of like that Columbus unit we just talked about. Like they're playing a lot together, pretty cheap. So Donskoy may have been hurt last game, which could have been.
I'm not really sure what happened there. I didn't read anything about Donskoy, but like he only got 10 minutes, so he must have had something happen. But yeah, I one thing I've noticed about West Coast and some teams, they have a beat reporter that covers really well, but it seems like on the West Coast, like there isn't as much of a need for the beat reporters to get everything in every day. Like when they're on an off day, like they don't feel the need to like really let us know. I mean, like they're still covering. I'm not like saying that. I'm not trying to but you know what I'm saying, Matt? The West Coast teams doesn't feel like people are in their ear like, well, what's going on right now with this prospect? And you know what I mean?
It says he's day to day. Doug Wilson told the Athletic on Thursday via text message, Donskoy is day to day and making good progress. So,
nice.
So that seemed promising. But keep an eye on that. All right, Florida side. Do we have any more clarity on what they're going to do with no Dadonov?
No, but Vibrata is cleared to play, and I have no idea if he's going to play. And I don't know if he plays in the top unit or, I mean, I don't know anything really. Like, there's just Vibrata could be back in, so check tomorrow and see, because that could change everything. I mean, Malgin is a guy that a lot of people considered with Barkov-Huberdeau. He got how many minutes? 11 minutes, no power play time. Granted, we did not see a second power play unit from them at all. Their first unit scored. So,
but he scored the game winner.
Yes, but he did score a goal. Yeah. He did score. Yeah, I mean, we were getting to that. Another thing is, who in the world is Hopla? I know you mentioned him last podcast, but he did play on that first power play unit again, and I just like, I mean, I know you mentioned him, and I'm like, yeah, this guy, sure. And I kind of like brushed it off, but what a name! Like, wow.
Henrik Hopla.
Hopla. Like, freaking he gets power play one time, but Timo Meier, God forbid. Sorry. I digress.
This is the DJ Rant Hour on the Morning Skate Podcast. We saw against the Rangers that actually Barkov and Huberdeau really lost some time on ice with no Dadonov. He seemed to really be relying on Trocheck. So definitely something to keep in mind. I don't really have any interest in Florida. Just, I don't know. It's like Barkov and Huberdeau are great, but their prices are so high, and I think I think I'm going more of that Couture line, like Panarin line, like cheaper lines like that I think allow me to do a little bit more of the rest of my team. So let's move on to actually defensemen in this game. Vlasic is super cheap as always. Doing some really, really nice things lately. Like,
because he is good.
Yeah, I mean, he's just generally good at professional ice hockey, so that's always good. Aaron Ekblad has fallen in price a bit to the point where I think he is definitely a play, just because he's one of those guys, kind of like Vlasic, who can issue like 4 to 5 fantasy points without their team like smashing or without him scoring a goal. Like, he has these random games where he gets legitimately 8 block shots. Like, he's one of those sort of involved DFS players. So I really like Ekblad whenever he's this cheap. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I think those two are just solid values that aren't flashy, but also will really help you build a high floor team, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. But yeah, we can move on to LA at St. Louis. So one of two teams, on a back-to-back tonight is Los Angeles. They just beat Washington, and I know not only Matt, but Steven Friend, I think, mentioned like that kind of killed his lineups. Like Washington was in a good spot, I thought as well, and I had some of them, but only one lineup really where I went all in on them. So LA put up a good night in Washington, but can they repeat against the Blues, who had a very disappointing night against Anaheim, and are home and ready to bounce back? So I guess just what do you think of this game overall? Is there any plays that you like? Because I'm feeling a pretty large fade, and that could be recency bias.
All right, so I know I literally, you know what? I'm not even. I was thinking that maybe if the Steen line goes out against Kopitar and then Kempe matches up with Tarasenko and Jen in them, that you know what? Either way, I think the Tarasenko line is in a great GPP spot. I'm not even going to try and preface it with something that I don't really believe case, 50% of the time, because, like I said, the line matching is so hard to predict. But like Tarasenko, Jen, Schwartz have been amazing. Yes, they really faltered in a fantastic spot on Wednesday night, but this is another great spot. Like LA on the road on a back-to-back. Like, yes, they're a good defensive team, but again, they're tired. They're a bit older. They're not necessarily a young team anymore, and I think you'll see a lot of people jump away from them based on how badly they got burned on Wednesday night. The prices are really high, but again, I think this is kind of a spot where I think it's very much deserved, just because they have been the best line in hockey, maybe outside of Kucherov and Stamkos, who have cooled off a little bit. But like every underlying number loves Shen, Schwartz, Tarasenko, so I really hope they stay together and we can kind of like see what they bring to the table. But if you find some cheap stacks that you like and can fit these guys, I think they're great players. But it's very tough.
I was gonna say I don't think we've seen this. I was trying to search on Hockey Visit. We've seen this matchup this year, and I am getting 0 matches for LA at STL or STL at LA. So yeah, I don't know what the lines are going to be, but I think if you're playing the game of like ownership odds and like ownership, I guess we call it leverage on the sim. If you're playing the game of leverage where you have guys that are very, very good and could definitely put up a 3-goal night as a line versus their ownership, Shen, Tarasenko, and Schwartz is probably your top line of the night. But then again, you play that line and they fit the narrative that is kind of being drawn out of LA slowing the pace on a back-to-back, Kopitar blanketing them, slowing them down and just kind of not allowing them to blow up, then you're going to have just a dud lineup. So I think if you're putting on a lot of lineups, it's definitely worth throwing in a couple, but it's not like a must-have by any means.
Yeah, I did want to point out, Deej, you mentioned the narrative from Adrian Kempe and Marian Gaborik.
Oh, and they're
Gaborik scored 2 goals on Thursday night. So
all about that narrative.
What was the narrative? That was one of the ones that you were cutting out for.
Okay, well, I was cutting out to you.
On the pod.
Yeah. Adrian Kempe's favorite player growing up, because he's like, 21 maybe, was Marian Gaborik.
Okay.
And he was saying how like thrilled he was to be playing with him, and like this was like a dream come true and all this stuff. And then the first night he scored. And then I'm like, yeah, like this, I mean, I don't know how long that lasts, but whatever, so only time will tell.
Yeah, so I guess if you have any more hot takes like that, you feel free to share them, because you have your finger on the pulse of what makes NHL players tick, it appears.
I think I finally solved it. Yeah, it makes sense. I think I'll try to make up something later in the pod, and maybe people will believe it.
All right.
What about wait. You know what? Another thing that I've noticed, and some of the is that Saboka has been shooting the puck a lot lately in the past few games. Vladimir Saboka, and he doesn't get any of the ownership anymore because he's not with Tarasenko. But do you think maybe Saboka could be a guy that flourishes not with the shot being taken by other players? Like he still has a chance to be a good player. I mean, he's getting fair power play minutes, like averaging, I would say, near 18 to 20 a night at 3.8.
I don't mind it. I think that's a pretty strong observation. The minutes are there, the shots have been there. So I don't have a problem with it. I'm not sure if I'd want to stack per se. Like, who is he with? What Steen?
Steen, yeah.
Okay, so that's I would say that's a very definitely a risky play. But as far as a one-off goes, I definitely think that's one of those guys who, come tomorrow night at midnight, you're looking at the winning lineups. You're like what? Like why Sabotka? But
But
you're kind
I
of
think
pointing at it.
well, the reason why Sabotka is because you're assuming that like that line's going to match up against probably Shore, Toffoli, and Pearson. And I don't know their defensive, underlying numbers, but it doesn't sound like it's that strong to me.
But they're not Kopitar, so yeah.
But they're not Kopitar, so that's the thing. Like, Kopitar is very, very. He's like a poor man's Bergeron on defense.
I mean, I would say he's like almost Bergeron.
Okay, fine,
Like,
fine. He's an equal value Bergeron.
Yeah.
He's like I was gonna try to make a food comparison and I lost it. It'd be like getting Aquafina or Daisy water. It's like I don't know which one's better, really. There you go.
Wow, that's deep. All right, next game.
Next game.
Speaking of water, you're going to need a lot of water after a night out in Vegas. Hey, Vegas at Winnipeg. Yeah, I'm not going to translate.
I defer.
I'm taking a knee to the end of the podcast.
No, I really just want to phone it in. I've never been more sad about Line A in my life. I never thought I'd be sad about Line A. I mean, he's only done such good to me. And then, like, all of my lineups would have cashed, and I would have just had a great night. I just needed Line A. It's all I needed. He was the missing link. I had, like, a lot of good takes, and then Line A, I had Line A with Ehlers in a couple lineups, which wasn't bad. And, yeah, I'm just sad now. He got 13 and a half minutes, got benched for Perot at one point. It's just, okay. Well, what do you think? This could be a bounce back night. I mean, we got Vegas on a back-to-back coming to Winnipeg. Is there a chance?
I've been pretty much fading Winnipeg all season, so I don't really see myself jumping on at this point. Even though it is a back-to-back.
I mean, Byfuglien is just like really cheap right now. I mean, he's got that I can't get a call, like buy a goal narrative, with like 24 minutes of ice. Like I think Byfuglien's a fine play for sure.
No,
he has great floor numbers. He's 5,200. Like I'm telling you right now. I don't mind a little Columbus and a little Winnipeg tomorrow. In a lineup that does not hurt me at all to say and do. But let's say that you were going to do that. What would you do? Like, let's say you're going like, I got my Columbus, I got my Panarin Anderson. Like, what do I want to do with Winnipeg? Like, where would you go? I'm not saying you got to play it, but like, where are the numbers driving? Like, is it just Scheifele, Wheeler?
I think so. Especially, like you said with that Anderson. Like, I think you can easily fit at least Wheeler. I don't know about Scheifele yet. Like, yeah. I'm still skeptical that he is a guy that I want to spend above 7,000, in my salary for. He's getting less than 2 shots per game on the season and over his last 10 games. So if they don't score multiple points, like, you're pretty much screwed.
I don't mind just going Wheeler Byfuglien. Like that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah. Even Kyle Connor is pretty expensive. Like 5.1 for a guy with not a great shot floor. I was more about it at the mid 4s, low 4s, but at this point, I'm gonna let it ride and hope that he doesn't have like a 9-point night or whatever that he's had a few times this season. But
no, I think it's Wheeler Bufflin. Like I really like that. Like I think Wheeler's way better than anyone on Winnipeg's defense, and like he's not like Eichel or Crosby.
Shea Theodore.
Okay, I mean like I love Shea Theodore and all, but like I mean the thing is he's not going to see Shea Theodore all night. I mean, even though like Shea Theodore finally is just like you think was it Gerard Gallant just finally was like, oh wait, this guy's amazing, and like he's just like what were we doing before?
He had literally never watched him play before. It was like
he just was like, huh?
Shea this guy? I thought he was on New York.
Oh man, it's just amazing. All of a sudden, like Shea Theodore is getting all the minutes, and it's just so much fun to watch. But I digress. This game, I will not play anyone from Vegas. I expect them to get shut out. So, yeah.
Looking at
they won't though. They'll get 2 just crazy, stupid goals that make no sense.
Oh, for sure.
And because Dubnik can't get a shutout for me, I almost wanted to guarantee it. Okay, sorry, you can talk.
Looking at the Thursday game between Minnesota and Vegas, the Niederreiter Stahl Marcus Foligno line at 5-on-5 had 25 shots on goal, only 7 allowed. That is insane.
Yeah, that's the way she goes. I mean, that's what happens. Yeah. Vegas's PDO at home is my favorite thing right now. Like it needs to be a meme, but it's not a meme yet. It just isn't there yet. Like I don't know how to make memes, but I need to learn just so I can make a meme for their PDO at home. Okay, but we can move on to the last game on the slate. I mean, is there any? I mean, the big note here is Laine is getting snubbed, and if you want to ride the Laine pissed off narrative, go for it. I don't know. I haven't decided. The thing is like by the time I make my lineups, I'll be at Pearl Street Brewery in downtown Buffalo, and I will be probably on my second Saber's Edge, and I'm going to be like, Laine is scoring tomorrow. Let's throw him in.
So, all right, you had your pitching segment earlier. I want to bitch about Josh Morrissey and why he's not on the power play. Like, I just don't get it. Like,
reach, brother.
Like, he is so freaking talented with the puck. And I mean, he's shown huge floor. Like, he's getting 20 minutes a night, basically, and he's blocking shots, putting the puck on net. Like, I think, he scored last game, which is kind of giving me the courage to, actually play him. But, like, he's just so good with the puck that I think if you played him, like 6 times out of 10, you would be very happy with the result. I don't think he's a must play or anything, but guys with talent like that who are doing just a little bit daily fantasy wise, like I just really want to see them who step in the bigger roles. And right now they have Tyler Myers on that second power play. Like they're not even playing Jacob Trouba on the power play. It just doesn't really, I get 4 forwards, 1 defenseman thing, but I just don't think Winnipeg has enough forwards to make that viable when you have so many talented defensemen on your team. But whatever. It's not the worst thing in the world, but someone that I really like is Josh Morrissey, and I wish he had a better role. The last game.
I definitely at the All-Star break when we make our DFS morning skate podcast. What would we call it? Like All-Star lineup, if we want to call it that or whatever. Yeah. Josh Morrissey's definitely making his case for jumping in on that. I mean, if you guys want, like, feel free to tag like a few players on Twitter, and you can send them to us. Like maybe make a little lineup of your own of players at the maybe we're at about the quarter mark, right? We're probably past it.
Yeah, I think we're a bit past the quarter mark.
We're a bit past the quarter mark.
So.
If you want to throw some at us, would not complain. Okay, so last game on the slate. Unless if you have anyone else, if you want to.
Nope. Go on.
We have Colorado hosting the New Jersey Devils, but I have it backwards on my screen right now. So Vatanen will play? Probably. I don't know if I've heard.
He's on this. So yeah,
I don't see why not. Yeah. I think. I mean, honestly though, like this is another one of those trades where I feel like every analyst will cop out and say like both teams won, but it just doesn't feel that way. Like New Jersey kind of has some offense going. They kind of have this upside, and I look at their defense, and it's like, man, like. they should not be giving these guys this many minutes. Like Moore, Severson, okay, like Butcher, he's got some good offensive upside, but Lovejoy, Green, and Santini, I'm like, yeah, boy, they're getting way too many minutes. And Venton is a clear improvement for that.
Uh, yeah. I mean,
You just don't like Venton as much as me. Like, I think he's fine. Like, he's just a good defenseman. Like, he's not gonna blow the doors open, but I just, I never, I
yeah.
don't know. He's fine. He's a fine player. He's
No, I
a
mean,
serviceable defenseman. And I
as
think Henrique is nothing to ride home about. But all right, you can take it from there.
as a Buffalo Sabres fan, I do not know what a good defenseman is.
Oh
So
yeah, that's true.
I just want to preface it with that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think he's just fine. Like I think Adam Henrique is really valuable to a team, and maybe a fine defenseman is also super valuable. But I really think that New Jersey in general is just due for some huge regression, and like Schneider's really good, but he can't carry him like this all season. So it's just kind of clouding like my overall like outlook going forward for this team, because they're getting shelled like expected goals wise, and Schneider doesn't have great counting stats, but like his goals saved sort of metrics really seem to like him. So I don't know. I don't think that losing two decent forwards for one decent defenseman, Glenn DC is probably on the lower end of decent, but in general, I think Anaheim made out like bandits here. Is my ultimate opinion.
Okay, fine. That could be your opinion. I'll just let you have it. We can move on. You covered it enough. This game,
Yeah.
what are we thinking though? Like, are we leaning one way or another? I mean, I'm kind of surprised to see how expensive the Colorado defensemen have gotten, Barry and Johnson, and I can't imagine stomaching either of them. Like it just doesn't feel like I feel like there's some nice value in this game. Nothing crazy, but there's.
I mean,
I don't know. What do you think? Like I like Taylor Hall every night right now. Like he's kind of doing things, but he's not doing anything that like garnishes 7-4. You know?
yeah. I mean, I think I'm feeding this game entirely. Like I love Nathan McKinnon, but 6,300 on the slate. Sorry, 6,500 on the slate just doesn't like that. Does not sit well with me. Um, his line mate Mikko Rantanen up at 5,000. Got a donut last game, so that was interesting. Even a guy like Alex Kerfoot, who I mentioned like off air, I was like, yo, like Kerfoot's only 3,300 playing center. Like what? Like he just doesn't shoot enough, even though he's on the first power play. Like you're really relying on goals here, and I don't know. I'm just not really sold on these two teams being like, all right, like sit down and watch this game, people, because it's gonna be a fun one. Like it could just kind of be one of those ugly games that you don't really expect. So maybe because I expect it's not quite that. But in general, I don't think the prices really match the upside here.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I'm not like all over this game by any means. I was more of just trying to get you to talk about it because I don't know. I really don't have much to say.
Yeah.
This is kind of boring.
Cal Palmieri, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. So we're probably looking at Hall, Hischier, Bratt. You think again, and then
yeah.
I don't know. Zacha, not Henrique. I mean, Zacha in for Henrique with Zajac and Stafford potentially. Like, I really don't know.
That could make sense. Yeah, for sure.
Like I don't know what we're looking at for New Jersey, and Colorado is just like, maybe Rantanen, McKinnon. If you're like,
Oops,
it's just too expensive.
You have New Jersey first power play from last game? Was it?
Yes, it was. Well, there was two, and the one that got maybe a touch more minutes was Henrique. So by Butcher, Boyle, Hall, and Bratt, and then Stafford, Hischier, Severson, Zajac, and Wood. So ugly and ugly.
That's interesting because with no Henrique, you might suspect that Hischier could get power play one time. I mean, he's 5,600, which I think is a bit ridiculous. But like, if you're stacking them, that could be a way. Hall, Hischier could. I'm not either, but I do think that's something that could happen. So I think we're more in the business of giving out information rather than like, oh, this guy's guaranteed to score 7 goals tonight or your money back. Like that's just not really something I like to do, but
Yeah, that's
uh,
true. No, I just feel like
with
the New Jersey guys that at one point we were like, oh my god, like this guy's in a great role at a great price. I've
I
been
know,
lost.
you know
It's
what,
just really
Hall from at some point in the season was like 5,900, wasn't it?
yeah,
I
he
think it
was
was.
really, really cheap at one point.
Yeah, so you know
It's like
that stuff's just kind of over.
the only person that like on paper looks like they might be a value, but doesn't ever shoot the puck is Zajac. Like he doesn't shoot. He has 7 shots on goal all season. Granted, that's in 7 games, but that's 1 shot on goal per game. And like that's the only guy on paper. It looks like it might be a play, but no, he's not a DFS guy. So, I mean, you're looking at like either spending up on a like the thing isn't like breaking the bank taking any of these lines, but it's more of like a I mean, except for Hall. Nah, I don't know. I'm probably. I mean, I'm probably fading this one.
All right, top 3 line stacks on
Yeah,
this.
let's do it. Okay. Do you want to go first, or well, I'll just go. I'll go first. Oh, wait, are you ready?
Well, give me my Columbus boys.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say. Yeah. I know. I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it because I knew you want it. Then I'll take my Wheeler Bufflin stack. Just those two,
Nice.
and I wouldn't mind going Connor as a third.
Nice. I can dig that.
And if you're feeling like really frisky line night, if you're feeling like, oh boy, like because they do have power play, they all play in the power play. But go on.
All right, expensive stack. Crosby, Hornfist. Pair him with either Kessel or Justin Schultz.
Okay. Oh man. Wait, I feel like I spent this whole podcast saying that like I didn't like anyone. Now that I'm looking back at it, like I feel like I was like, oh, I mean, I don't mind this, but like this isn't that good. I was really like, I love you, Columbus, but then I hate everyone else.
I feel like we kind of swapped roles because normally you're the one who's like, oh, I like that guy, and I was like, tonight that was me. Like, oh man, I like Mike Hoffman and Eric Carlson. Hey, I like Tarasenko, and hey, I like Columbus. Like,
Yeah. You had a love fest, and I don't know what it is. We definitely traded roles. Okay, boy. Oh man, I really am looking right now, and I'm struggling. I will say, okay, I remember one that I like that I feel like I think VC and Nash.
Ooh,
I think that'll be super contrarian, and like Carolina does do a good job of shutting down top units, but that I don't think that's going to be their top unit. Like that's not going to be the one that Carolina goes after. Those two, the other line mate was the I totally got out of it. I just had it in front of me. Well, I mean, you could pick a defenseman out of that too, but it was JT Miller. I don't love that, so maybe.
Wait, wasn't Miller centering Zuccarello and Grabner?
You know what? I'll just pull it up.
It was VC Nash and oh wow,
Hayes. It was Hayes. Hayes VC Nash. Hayes. That's the guy. All right, fine. I don't hate Hayes, and they do all have the same power play correlation, and they were with Brady Shea, who could still reasonably be there. I don't know where McDonough might take off Desjardins on the first unit.
Well, no.
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, the lineup could change. Maybe.
Yeah, I think McDonough would simply replace Shea on the power play.
So it's fine. Yeah, I mean McDonough's fine. Yeah, play McDonough. Go do whatever you want.
All right. So
guaranteed goals.
Let's see. Yeah, guaranteed goals. I'm trying to figure out like what relative price ranges I want to use.
All right, I have mine.
Oh, go for it.
It's 11-5. That is gonna be 11-5.
Yeah, 11-5 is good.
Artemi Panarin and Dustin Byfuglien. Dustin Byfuglien is gonna finally net one against Vegas. The guy is gonna have 5 shots on goal, 2 block shots, a goal and an assist.
Or your money back.
Or I will give you nothing.
All right, that is some goodness right there. Man,
hot take.
Yeah, I got a lot to live up to now. All right.
The Panarin's kind of like could end up being chalky, but
no, for sure. All right. I have. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Mike Hoffman getting on the board. My boy
just jams it in. Just jams it in.
You know, I was like, I want Hornfist or no. You go Mike Hoffman because he's sniping on that power play. Across from Mike Hoffman, you know, give me Adam Henrique if he plays. He's gonna get all the minutes. He's gonna be power play one almost certainly. Like they have nobody else. Let's just do it. Like Anaheim again, gonna ruin some nights by scoring like maybe 3 goals on Bob, and Bob will not be the highest scoring goaltender for obviously a ridiculous price. So,
All right.
give me Hoffman and Henrique.
Bold.
All right, bold. Hey,
Hashtag.
that fortune favors me.
I mean,
All right,
you
anything
know,
else?
I mean, no, we're probably gonna take the weekend off. I can't. Well, I'm definitely not recording tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah.
You can find us on Twitter at Morningscape Pod. I have really been trying to be more active on there, but it's kind of like in waves. Like some nights it's very useful because I retweet literally everything. Like, I mean, and the thing is, it's like I know people are looking at it because I even get like Pete Jensen from NHL Network, like favoriting our retweets, not like my tweets, like favoriting retweets
Right.
and stuff. And like beat reporters, I feel like see that we're a podcast and they do answer us. Like the guy from Dallas, Mike,
Hika. Yeah.
Micah. He he'll message us back and stuff like. So it's definitely worth a follow. And I think that if you don't want to do all the research going through all the beat reporters, like I like doing it because I like reading and listening to the coaches and stuff because I'm a hockey nerd. So you can check that out. And yeah, the group me is lit always. So if you want to figure that out, just message us there, DM us. I hope I'm getting to all of those. If we don't get to your no, I think we're all caught up on those. But if we don't get to it, like just send another one. Like I'm not gonna think you're like trying to do it. Like I'll find it. Like I will find it.
Right.
Like because like the thing about Twitter now is when you go to direct messages, like it'll go to requests if we don't follow you, which is probably more than likely the case. So I don't see them directly, but normally I can I'll notice it.
Did we get that review?
No, we did not. I looked.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that's coming in the mail. Yeah,
Juski or something. Yeah, he was gonna send a review. I looked. It wasn't there. I mean, maybe since I looked like not that long ago, but you know what? We'll get to it next time. I'll be ready for Monday's slate, which I think we plan on probably recording for.
So I looked ahead, and there are 4 games on Monday and Wednesday. I'm gonna make an executive decision. We're not gonna record for 4 gamers. Like that's it's just a lot of work, and you definitely want, you'd rather have us a bit juiced up rather than like, another slate to talk about. So
we'll record Monday night.
So yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday should be good for next week. Looking ahead. So we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. Like do everything DJ just said, and for DJ, for Doug, and for myself, have a good slate, everyone, and we will see ya.